In the know.
Good evening, everyone.
In the know.
Tony Reeves, fire. Following the news in any way, shape, or form. No shortage of things to talk about. What did we mean? What will it bring? This is a reality we simply have to accept. Tony Reeves, fire. Tony Reeves. Let's go ahead and get started.
Hey everyone, good day. Again, this is Tony Reeves, and welcome to another edition of In the Know. I want to talk to you about understanding about the decision and the importance of having a power of attorney or durable healthcare surrogate with regard to your parents. This will probably be one of the toughest conversations that you're going to have. But at some particular point, you're going to need to know from your parents who do they want to have in charge if something happens and they are medically incapacitated in terms of their ability to speak on their own behalf. Now, the reason why I said it's a tough decision is because a lot of times we often think of our parents as being, I hate to say it, but invulnerable. We just think that they just are made of steel. But the reality is that as they get older and, you have various health issues that may pop up, there may be times where they're going to be providers, doctors or social worker, whatever the case may be, who are going to want to know what are the wishes of your parents, and more importantly is who can provide guidance when your parents can't actually speak for themselves. Now, every state is a little different. I use the word durable healthcare surrogate or power of attorney interchangeably, but effectively what you're talking about is a legal document where your parents give you the authority to make specific decisions on their behalf when they are no longer able to do so. Some power of attorneys are a little bit more expansive. It gives them basically the ability to be able to make decisions for them as if they were them. So you could do those things as well. The person is in terms of giving that power of attorney is effectively saying this person is basically speaking as if you were talking to me. So this gives them the ability to do things in terms of maybe access to bank accounts, maybe access to medical records, things of that nature. But for your purposes, what you want to know and you want to figure out, and sometimes speaking to an attorney is probably going to be helpful if you're not sure, is you want to make sure that you have something that's available, because let me tell you what's going to happen, and it's not something that I would wish on anyone and no one wants to go through. But the reality is that there may come a point in time where you're going to be so busy wrapped in your own emotions of dealing with the fact that your loved one is going through something that you may not have even crossed your mind to think about the fact that, hey, I need to get this thing addressed in terms of documentation that I can utilize. Because a lot of times the things that you need going forward is going to require somebody speaking on your parents' behalf. Now, I know it's going to sound crazy, and I'm not talking about the situation where they're talking about do not resuscitate because they had a devastating issue like that. I'm talking about just rudimentary things like getting copies of your medical records, giving clearance to do various medical procedures, being able to let the doctor's office speak to you about certain things in terms of treatments, things of this nature. The reality is that your parents may not necessarily be as forthcoming with you about all the things that's going on with them health-wise. So you want to be in a position so that if you have to ask questions, you're not sitting here having to go through all these hurdles and hoops trying to get somebody to tell you something. But if you have some documentation that you have that's available to you, you can make it happen. The other reason why you want to do it is because, unfortunately, if they become incapacitated, they may not be able to give you the authority at that point. States operate a little differently, but in some states, once the person goes through a particular event, there may be questions or concerns from not only the providers, but even other loved ones about whether that person was in a position to be able to grant that authority. So what you want to do is you want to get that document early on when your parents are still in a position where they're able, parents or even loved ones, your wife or your husband, your brothers, uncles, whatever the case may be. If you've got a loved one in your life that wants you to be able to make medical decisions for them in the event that they're not able to, You want to get as much documentation as possible so that this way you have something ready available to you so that if you need to come in and move on a moment's notice, you can do so. And you want to do it during a time when they are in a position to be able to grant it to you without there being any concerns or issues that person may not be in a position to do so. So how do you have that conversation? Now, that's the tough thing. Some people say, well, how do you do it? You do it in the sense of giving the person the idea and telling them that while they're still in the position to be able to make decisions on their own and be in control of their own affairs, that, listen, you want to be in control of who can speak on your behalf. Because the last thing you want to do is be in a situation where, you've got brothers or sisters or kids or spouses in a basically a pissing match in terms of who's going to be able to say that they can speak on your behalf. Who's the one that they should be able to turn to? And I'll be honest, a lot of medical providers and some different entities, some instances in some states, they have a breakdown in terms of what needs to happen if it comes to this. But you don't want to be in a situation where you basically are spending a great deal of valuable time trying to go through the hurdles to get to the point so that you can speak on their behalf, when now you're in a position now where you can talk to them and say, listen, while you are still in control of your faculties, you are in a decision-making capability, we need you to tell us who you want to be in charge, and then we need to get the appropriate documentation. So this way, when we come in and we show this, even if there's a lot of people around who may have their thoughts about it, this document will basically set the tone. And I need you to understand this, and let me stress this point even more so. You want to do this because if by some chance you have multiple people around who believe that they're in the best position, you don't want to have to say, well, I'm the brother, well, I'm the son, I'm this. I said, no, you've got this document. It stands for itself, because the reality is that once a loved one gets to the point where something happens that incapacitates them, there are a lot of people who have their own preconceived idea of their importance to that individual in terms of making decisions. And that's not when you want to be in that position. You don't want to be in that position where you're in a pissing match or in a boxing match or in a state of going back and forth with someone about whether or not they have the right to speak on that person's behalf or you do. So get the documentation you can together as quickly as you can, as early as you possibly can, with the idea of stressing to the loved one that you're doing this not because you're trying to take control of their affairs. You're doing this because you want them to be able to tell you who they want to be in control of their affairs in terms of making decisions for them regarding their health care early on. So this way you won't be sitting here having to box back and forth with somebody while you could be in a position to be able to communicate the wishes of your loved ones and making decisions for their medical benefits on their behalf. Trust me, it'll go so much easier if you do it in advance. All right, everyone. Again, thank you for tuning into another edition of In the Know. You know you can find me on any of these platforms where there's listening devices. So Spotify, Google apps, Google apps, Spotify, Pandora. You can check me out on any of these various different devices. And, if you have social media, just type in My Name is Reeves and you can find me on those as well. As always, my name is Reeves, and you can know that I want to end the day with my favorite question of the day. Are you ready for the Anthony Reeves